U.S. and NATO are watching Syria over concerns that Russia is beefing up its military presence there. Now, Moscow says this is nothing new, but in recent days, about 100 Russian Marines and several transport aircraft arrived at the Assad International Airport in northwest Syria. CBS News senior security contributor, that's Michael Morell, is a former CIA deputy director, and he joins us live from Washington. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Gail.
So what's behind this Russian involvement in Syria, and what exactly does it mean?
So here's what's happening. U.S. intelligence is monitoring Russian activity in northwest Syria, and what they're seeing is the arrival of prefabricated housing units for about 1,000 people, a portable air traffic control system, a tank landing ship. Not a lot of clarity on exactly what's happening here, but the leading theory is that the Russians are building an air base, and the concern is that they might conduct combat air operations out of that air base on behalf of President Assad and his fight against ISIS, al-Nusra, and the moderate opposition. So that's the concern.
So, Mike, how does the U.S. potentially respond to that?
So there's only one thing we can really do, which is try to stop the flow of these arms. And there's three ways for the Russians to get this stuff to Syria. One is to overfly Turkey. The Turks have said no. There's been a long history to that. The other way, and that's what's been happening, is over Bulgaria and Greece. But now the United States has reached out, and the Bulgarians have agreed no more flights. The Iranians yesterday said to the Russians, you can overfly Iran, but that still means that they need to overfly Iraq. So I think the diplomatic focus is now going to be on Iraq, and the U.S. is going to put tremendous pressure on Iraq to stop those flights. We'll see what the Iraqis do.
Mike, I want to get your thoughts this morning about a story in the Daily Beast about 50 intelligence officials who have said that in some cases their reports have been altered by senior officials, in some cases to make it look like the fight against ISIS and al-Qaeda is going better than it might be. What's your reaction to that?
So these are analysts at the U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, which is actually conducting our operations in Iraq and Syria. One of the central tenets, one of the key aspects of the policymaking process in the United States is that analysts get to say what they think without any interference, without anybody changing it. So this is a very, very serious charge. I think it needs to be fully investigated. And if there is truth that somebody has been meddling with their analysis, I think somebody needs to lose their job over it, and there needs to be full transparency into this, because this is so important that analysts actually get to say what they really think.
Mike, quickly, is the fight against ISIS going worse than the public thinks it is?
So I think there's three battlefields. One is the battlefield in Iraq and Syria, and I'd say we're at stalemate there. The second battlefield is the militant groups around the world who are now claiming they're part of ISIS. We're losing that battle. And then the third battle is the ideological battle for the hearts and minds of young people in the United States, in Western Europe, Australia, Canada. I think we're losing that fight too.
Right.
So three different fights.
Okay, thank you, Michael Morell in Washington this morning.